Deep in the forest, not the least bit prepared. The whispers and tigers and ghouls got me scared. Braun said the lore is the horseman rides tonight. Gosh, I hope to avoid that spooky sight. Come on now, let's play some Lorcana with Gargoyles, Mowgli, and his wolf dad Rama. We'll boost and sleuth and munch and crunch, win 3 rounds and break for lunch. A smorgasbord of lore, it's Lorcana. Hello everybody, welcome to S'morecana, the world's #1 ranked Lorcana/snack/Disney crossover podcast. I'm Brett.
I'm Katie, and you're listening to episode 75, everybody. That's a good number.
A very good number, and some very good news. Some fortuitous circumstances have arisen. We are going to Richmond.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
We're going to the DLC.
Richmond!
We have attendee badges.
Yes, we do.
Each have an attendee badge. You got one on the day that they dropped. I didn't get anything. But Rob, the king of diversions, was able to snipe an attendee badge for me.
Very exciting. Great that we can both attend as attendees. We're still on the lookout for maybe a competitor badge for you. Or for me, for one of us, maybe.
For one of us.
But you know, honestly, we're bringing the little tiz, so it might be the best thing ever to both have attendee badges and get to do all those side events.
It'll be Tizzy's first DLC. I think she's just looking for a solid day 2 finish. She's going to set modest goals. Just a day 2 is all she's asking for the first time around.
Exactly. She's not too cocky. She knows that cockiness won't get her far.
She'll be 4 months old by the time the DLC rolls around, so I think for a 4-month-old, a day 2 finish is fine.
Yeah, we'll keep her.
It'll be great to see what happens at Richmond because right now the metagame is so dynamic, Katie.
It's kind of wild. We've got a lot of good, strong decks out there. There really isn't one that I'm thinking like, oh, that one's actually cool. That one actually does something. They all kind of do something and are pretty cool.
They all do powerful things. It's such a change. It's such a breath of fresh air after Fabled. I know we've said it before, but just to reiterate, fun decks doing powerful things. Hey, that makes for a good game.
Yeah. We also have some exciting local news. Our local metamate, Tiago, just won our local case tournament that we had a week ago, and then went all the way to Singapore.
And got top 4.
What?
Scored a golden Mickey.
Yeah, we were up for an early baby feeding, and we were watching the DLC Singapore coverage and chatting with each other about where Tiago could possibly have landed. I know you had been chatting with him earlier in the day, and then he just popped up on our screen in a top 4 match, and we're like, oh shoot, he made top 4. Very exciting. Happy for him.
Yeah, he just waltzes into diversions, wins the case tournament as a little tune-up, flies to the other side of the world, and makes a deep run in the best of 1 format.
Wild.
So congrats to Tiago. Just such a phenomenal player and really just like a humble guy, you know? He's a joy to be around and to have as a metamate. So great job. Couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah, it's rare that a player who is so successful is fun to get matched into. But Tiago's still fun to play against. So we're happy. I was at that case tournament. Well, we were both at the case tournament, but I got to play in the case tournament because Tizzy didn't want to compete that day.
She just wanted to study.
Yeah.
So I just held her and we watched a lot of games.
Yeah, you studied the meta. I played my Chromadogs deck.
How'd that go?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. You know, dear listener, if you've ever played Chromadogs before, you know it's a tricky deck. It's really complicated. It's not easy to just kind of pick up and play optimally, I should say. I think I did a good job playing on the day. I think I made good decisions, but I didn't win much. And I think I could have made better plays. I think if I was a little bit stronger with the deck, if I was a little more laser focused in on just Chromadogs and was really studying it, I could have really aced it. But it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of combos, a lot of decisions to make there.
I think that deck is so much harder to play than some of the control decks that are out there in Lorcana, if they can even be called control decks. Like Chromadogs gets labeled an aggro list, for example.
Sure.
And Sapphire Steel kind of gets labeled a control list, sort of. And traditionally in card games, it's like, oh, the control decks are hard to play. And oh, aggro, you just turn the cards sideways. Chromadogs is so much harder to play than Sapphire Steel, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's wicked hard to play. I had a fun time playing it. I like pulling off the combos and I like thinking about, what I'm going to do and making those difficult decisions. And that's the fun of Lorcana, right? That's the fun of playing specifically those colors too. Amber and Emerald are really fun colors to play together, but I struggled with a lot of my matchups. I saw Ruby Amethyst. I saw some Amber Steel. I saw Blue Steel. That was really difficult to play against with Spooky Sight.
Yeah, normally you could kind of breeze under a Sapphire deck, you might think. But when they're running Spooky Sight, it is a total game changer.
I struggled with Chromadogs when it was Churnadog for the same reasons, right? Because it's a complicated deck and there's a lot of micro decisions to make. But I think that it's gotten worse in this meta. I think that there's more that specifically like deletes a lot of Chromadogs combos that you may have been waiting 3 turns to pull off. And then it all just goes away and you have a huge discard and nothing to search your discard. It's really sad.
It's a really exciting deck to play though. You're always on that kind of razor's edge between victory and defeat.
And when it works, it's wildly rewarding. It's super fun when it all works and you feel like a god and you're playing a huge tramp and you're pulling stuff out of your discard and you're playing it and you're like, But it's just not.
What do you like? Can you say that again?
You're like,
Like, okay, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
We all know what you mean.
You guys get it.
One more time. What is that like when you get something out of your discard?
When you're winning and you're doing it really, you know?
What other news do we have from the meta, Katie?
We've got some news from Vegas.
There was a Continental Championship qualifier in Las Vegas that Anatidai won with Ruby Amethyst.
Woo!
Good old red purple.
Yeah, that's the deck that I'm switching over to, listener. As much as I love the challenge of Chromadogs, Ruby Amethyst is where my heart has always been. I have more fun with that. So I'm happy to see that it won the CCQ.
Some of the new cards that are in that list are just really, really strong. Like, we had been playing around with some red-purple decks and knew that the Horseman was super underrated. It's just kind of a curve-out deck, right?
Super fun. Yeah, Diablo's a blast. Hercules is a blast in Ruby Amethyst world right now. He's, favored by some, ignored by others, but he's a really fun new card to play with. A lot of variation in the world of Ruby Amethyst right now. There's several Ruby Amethyst lists that are doing really well.
I'm curious to see if Chris Oyola's deck from Singapore starts to catch on. He was running a package that included Maui Shark with Next Stop Olympus and Swooping Strikes, so he could get a lot of value out of the Maui Shark, potentially clearing several characters on his opponent's side of the board. That's a combo that, we knew how strong that was. It was just a question of whether somebody could jam it into the existing shell. But when you combine Demona with Maui Shark and Next Stop Olympus, and you can kind of come back onto the board with a clear that also gains you 4 or 6 lore, that's really strong.
Yeah, Maui Shark, once again, a card that rarely disappoints.
What else is going on in the world of Disney, Katie?
Oh, Zootopia 2 is out, baby.
We're going tomorrow.
We love some Zootopia in this family.
And I think it's going to be Tizzy's first movie in the movie theater.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes. We're going to bring her. We're going to bump her around. We might be hanging out in the exit aisle a little bit, but that's okay. We're not afraid.
I have a feeling that we'll be alternating turns out in the lobby, but it'll be fun nonetheless.
We'll see what happens. We'll give a full report on our review of the movie on the next episode. Speaking of zoos, I'm so hungry, I could eat a zoo of food.
Well, we better get you inside and order you some food quickly. Let's go. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Breton. It is a pleasure to see you once more.
Hi, Bartleby. We rarely ever get to see you anymore.
How's it going, Bartleby? Haven't seen you since the last S'more Awards.
What have you been up to?
Oh, the usual. Trying to update rule sets, trying to keep everything within the realm of Lorcana running properly and politely.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Tonight we are testing new servingware here at the cafe, and so I wondered if you would indulge me by testing some of these new spoons.
Oh, new spoons.
Sure, we'd be happy to.
Yeah.
I thank you for your generosity.
Wow, look at this.
Cool, look at this spoon.
Array of spoons.
Yeah, lots of different spoons.
What's your favorite kind of spoon, Brett? Are you a big spoon guy? Do you like the tiny little spoons?
Big spoons, yeah, big spoons. Easier for I don't know, I kind of have gangly hands, so
Gangly hands.
when I have a small spoon, I feel like I'm going to drop it all the time.
That's a good point. And you don't get as much food per spoon.
True. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
All of the different tools that you could use to, I don't know, open a pack of Lorcana cards.
Oh, that's a really good point. This couldn't be more apropos. I think it's time for a top 10 list of tools that you can use for opening packs.
The top 10 tools you can use for opening packs. Yeah, let's run through some of these. I think these are some options that maybe you've used in the past, and maybe some that will be new to you.
Coming in at number 10, fingers.
Nature's tool. Now, it must be said that fingers are oily. They transport germs. They can be clumsy and fallible. And generally, I think they're disgusting, right?
Yeah, fingers can be pretty gross.
So I work in the world of stage electrics, and something I know is that if you ever touch a high wattage conventional light bulb with your oily fingers, even a trace amount of that oil is enough to make that light bulb explode. That's actually true.
Yeah, see, that's disgusting. Exploding something with your finger oil, humiliating.
So just remember that the last time that you used your grubby, disgusting fingers to open a pack of Lorcana cards and smeared your new enchanted with finger oil, you were just asking for trouble.
You could have blown it up.
You could have blown it up. If you put that card under, a high wattage lamp, you'd be asking for it. You could light your enchanted on fire.
You could die.
Remember that the use of tools, of fine crafted tools, is what distinguishes man from beast, really. So if you want to keep, using your fingers to open packs, like if you're some kind of heathen,
some kind of fool,
yeah, you can keep using fingers technically. Now we include this because we know that unfortunately there are folks out there who do use their fingers to open packs, but we're going to quickly move past this and talk about some of the better options.
Yeah. Coming in at number 9.
Scissors. Risky, but can be effective.
Yeah, if you make sure that you shake your pack so that, the cards have settled to the bottom and you're not going to snip off the top of them, it can be an efficient way to open your pack with less crinkling. You
can get child-safe scissors, we suppose, if that's something that's of concern to you.
Yeah, but, it's a tool. I've seen a lot of people use it. It's a little bit scary, sometimes a bit taboo because you could cut a card, but usually people don't.
Katie, what else could we use? What's number 8 on our list?
Coming in at number 8 is another blade. This blade is a katana.
A katana, yes.
Scissors are too boring, right?
They're clumsy, for sure.
Yeah, come on.
Boring, pedestrian, quotidian, you might say.
Yeah, walking into a friendly local gaming store and wielding a katana makes a statement.
It does. And wielding a katana requires a certain mastery,
yes.
A certain grace. It requires a purpose. It requires poise. It requires diligence to have mastered the katana that far to be able to use it on so fine a target as a pack of cards.
Yes, it's classy.
It is classy.
To do that.
So it can be a status symbol.
Definitely.
So, just simply lop the top off the pack of cards.
What's number 7, Brett?
Could use a microwave.
Oh, now explain this to me.
Yeah. So, usually you think of a microwave being used for food, and food is always on the brain for us, but sure. We are, of course, a food/Lorcana crossover podcast. I think this is one that came to mind for us in particular, is using the microwave to open your cards. It could be dangerous because I think there's some metal in the packaging.
Sure, they're foil.
So you're probably going to get some sparks. That said, the microwave could melt the glue used to hold the packaging together. So you throw your pack in the microwave, you melt all of that glue off, and then bam, your pack's open, your cards are accessible.
Yeah, it's preferable to the oven because the oven will take way too long. Microwave, zap that pack open. Really beautifully done.
I'm not sure how this would affect your foils. I'm not sure how much metal content there is. I know that sometimes putting metal in the microwave is a no-no. Frankly, I don't think it's of a major concern. I think the ease that the microwave provides in terms of melting the glue is worth any trade-off in terms of damage to your home.
Certainly. Coming in at number 6, folks, saliva.
Yeah, so we just talked about breaking down the glue. Now, something that we all have access to is saliva. Your saliva is so good at breaking things down. It's not just mouth water.
Yeah.
Your saliva is in fact a miracle chemical.
Pick that pack up and lick it.
Drool all over it. See, what I'm thinking is what you can do is you can kind of work up some slaver, right? Like look at a food that looks really appealing. You work up some slaver and you just drool all over your new booster box. Let that kind of seep through for a few minutes, walk away for a little bit. You come back and I'm sure that your saliva will have worked on that glue, broken it down.
Definitely.
The next option, the next tool that you can use.
Hit it with your car.
Yeah, your car. You can hit it with your car.
Hit it.
Just hit it really hard with your car.
Hit it with your car.
Don't run it over. I mean, they're flat, right? If you just run it over with your car, it's not going to do too much. But if you're able to drive pretty quickly into the pack of cards,
yeah,
it would probably open.
Yeah, just hit it.
And a lot of us have cars. Again, it's all about ease of access to these tools, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, we understand that a katana, and the reason it's not higher on the list, the katana is like not all of us have katanas.
Exactly, right.
But I think the percentage of folks who do have cars is reasonably high. You know, the Venn diagram of folks who have Lorcana cards and cars, the overlap is massive.
Most definitely. And everybody has this next one.
Yeah, telekinetic powers. Use hypnotic strength.
Yes, everybody's got a mind, and if you work hard enough, you can use your hypnotic strength to open the pack.
Just stare really, really hard. Concentrate really, really hard. I mean, we've seen so many movies about this, like Ghostbusters, right? Famously involves professors of telekinetic energy.
Yes.
That's a great documentary, if anybody's seen that. Relevant to Whispers in the Well.
Indeed.
Kind of modeled on the great Ghostbusters documentary in a lot of respects. So yeah, think about your telekinetic strength and putting that to good use when you're opening packs of cards. When I think of opening packs, right, I think about this graph, and you basically have on one axis, you have how easy it is to open the packs, like how effective it is. And then you have on the other axis, how much damage you could potentially incur on the cards. And I think, you know, when you're thinking about using telekinetic energy to open your packs of cards, the chance of damage is very low, but the chance of opening them is also kind of low because I think a lot of us haven't developed our telekinetic energies.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason it's not number one, right? But it is still a really, really strong option. And if you're committed to opening good packs and playing Lorcana, then you'll commit to this.
Hypnotic strength. They even made a card about it. So clearly they intend you to use your hypnotic strength. How about number 3? We're down to number 3 on the list here, Katie.
Raccoon.
You could use raccoon.
Just use a raccoon.
Tell us about that.
Now, raccoons know nothing about card games, right? But there is some lore surrounding raccoons.
Okay.
Apparently, raccoons are really good at pulling rare cards. Rare, super rare, legendary, enchanted, epic,
oh my goodness.
Iconic. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so if you actually care about Lorcana and you want an iconic, put in the work.
You train your raccoon.
Yeah, or have a raccoon, put in the work for you.
You know, some people call them trash pandas.
Yeah, well.
Isn't that sad?
I call them chanty pandas.
Chanty pandas. Yeah, raccoons are chanty pandas. And, you know, interestingly enough, they don't much care about the card rarities themselves.
No, they don't play.
So if you need to pluck an iconic out of their grasp, they won't much care. You can just give them a common and they'd be equally happy.
Definitely. What's number 2 here, Brett? We're getting right down to it.
Yeah, I think we're approaching the really, really great options and the ones that I think are really the best for opening packs of cards. The second best tool for opening packs of Lorcana cards, cups.
What was that?
A cup. You can use a cup.
Right. Explain this to us.
I think it should be fairly self-explanatory to anybody who's ever peeled garlic.
Oh, sure. You want to shake it around?
Right. So you take your cloves of garlic, you put them in a cup, you shake them really hard, and the skin kind of falls off the cloves of garlic.
I love that.
Right. So similarly, and I can't believe that this hasn't really caught on, but take your booster pack, throw it in a cup, shake it around really hard, take a look inside, you'll find out all of your cards are free of their foil wrappings.
That is a really, really good option. I can see why it's number 2. Can't believe we didn't use that tonight.
I'm so surprised that people haven't used it more widely. You know, I'm surprised that we don't just see cups kind of as part of a courtesy service given out at friendly local gaming stores. I think it's something that we'll talk to Diversions about for sure. Just making sure that cups are on hand so that folks can open their packs elegantly, efficiently, safely.
You know, I know we weren't there, but I do hear that they used cups in Lille.
See, that's the French for you.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the French for you. They are always a step ahead over there in terms of elegance, right?
Definitely.
Elegance first. Dignity. Always dignity. All right, the number one best tool for opening Lorcana packs in our minds, right? After a lot of discussion. Go ahead, Katie. What is it?
Dynamite.
Right. Dynamite. Little TNT. Little trinitrotoluene.
That's $100 word right there.
Yeah. So, we talked before about that graph of different ways to open. I think with dynamite, there's 100% chance, right? Like the chance that the pack will be opened, the efficiency at opening the pack is super high.
Yes.
At the price of a small risk that you're going to incur some damage to the cards.
Right. Exactly. I think if you want the pack to open and you don't want to mess around or
I
be
just want it open.
embarrassed,
I want this pack opened.
open it. Don't worry about damage. It's fine. It's sealed.
That's why there's a wrapper on it.
Yeah, come on. Don't be a wuss.
I'm not worried, really, ultimately. Like, there are plenty of cards out there. We need to open the packs and get to the cards. Let's get a move on here.
Yeah, so what if you blow up a couple commons?
Grab a few sticks of dynamite, throw the cards on top, light everything, light the fuse, see what happens.
Wow. Well, this was an explosive list, Brett.
Yeah, I think some really, really great options. Just kind of giving you all the kind of content that you're not going to find on some of these more competitively oriented podcasts out there. You have to find your niche, and ours is looking at the margins, trying to figure out what the people really need. So there you go, everybody. You're welcome.
Good luck out there.
Katie, is that who I think it is over there?
No, I don't think so. Not at the Smorkana Cafe.
I think there's only one Illuminaire with that wonderful beard and that long, luscious hair.
Do you think that's Sailor?
I think that's Sailor.
No way.
I think that is the Sailor. I think we should go talk to him. You dare me?
Yeah,
I'm
dare
gonna
you.
do it. I'm gonna do it. All right, I'm going. I'm going for it. Hey, are you by any chance Sailor?
Oh, in a restaurant? This is my first time. Yes, I am indeed. Pierre Marc, my real name, and definitely Sailor, also known as Sailor in the Lorcana scene.
So good to see you. We're huge fans of yours. Would you mind? I mean, I know this it might be an imposition, but would you mind coming over and chatting with us for a little while?
Yeah, absolutely. I was all by myself anyway.
Awesome. Well, for those of the few listeners who might not know, Sailor is, of course, a member of Team Maelstrom, the competitive Lorcana team. He has a ton of tournament wins and DLC top finishes. It culminated in an 11th place finish at the World Championship. He is perhaps best known for creating one of the most famous and accomplished Lorcana decks, which is, of course, Sisu on Ice.
On Ice!
Now he's turned his attention in the current meta to Emerald Sapphire Bounce. He published a wonderful guide on Metafy last week, a guide that I purchased and have been enjoying a ton. So it's an honor to chat with you here today.
Oh, absolutely. Same. Thanks for the nice and kind words. It's been a really great first season, and we're trying to do our best to replicate that on season 2, but it's very different. So new challenges that we're trying to solve.
Totally. How are you enjoying the Whispers meta so far?
Oh, it's really like a fresh air after the Fable meta, which really felt like it wasn't meant to be or wasn't really well prepared. Now we have the real stuff, real power upgrade that we desperately needed to make those really, really strong cards too few and far between. Definitely up in power, and it's very welcome.
Yeah, we've been really enjoying it ourselves. We kind of lucked out. We keep saying we had the baby at the perfect time because we had the least amount of time to play Lorcana during Fabled, and we didn't feel like we were missing quite as much, but we're really excited to be back at it with Whispers. Speaking of young Illumineers, you have a young Illumineer yourself. Do you have any advice for us as we move forward with our baby here in terms of balancing kind of your family obligations with being such a success in the Lorcana scene?
Yeah, I mean, certainly one of the two parent as a very demanding hobby or even like something like sport, right? Like an athlete, something like that. the other from the other parent really need to be supportive of it, right? So you need to make sure that it's something that both agrees on, because it takes a lot of mental space, time, and commitment to be able to reach those levels. And if your family isn't prepared for it, you really should consider doing something else of your time, right? You won't be able to do all these accomplishments without some sacrifices and hard work. So I would encourage everybody to wait on their life situation and make sure that you don't leave your important people behind, right? In that decision, you make sure that it's a decision we're making together.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun and challenges kind of navigating that in these first few months, because we both like to play, I think, equally. And so we've been kind of trading off. Like, for instance, this past weekend, Katie went and played, and I, just hung out with the baby and brought her to the Lorcana tournament, just hung out while Katie got to play, and we just keep trading off. But it's definitely a back and forth and a give and take, and you have to have that kind of open communication for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And my kid is a bit too young to be like a real player, right? He doesn't read still, but I'm trying to not push it too much either. Because I remember when I was young, my father-in-law really wanted me to play guitar, and just because he really wanted to, I didn't. So it's something that I would have loved to learn now that I think about it, right? Like later on. But I think you kind of need to let your kid do the first step. So that's kind of my own approach about it.
Does he have any favorite Disney movies that you're able to kind of hook him with?
He's been enjoying Bolt quite a bit recently. I was never a fan of Cars all too much, but he is. So the one that we're both loving a lot is Moana. I love Moana a lot because, I've done some sailing, right? If you haven't guessed by my name. There's a lot of that in Moana, but also the character is very committed to her community, but she's also very humble and human and daring. And I love all of that from her. And Maui is a really nice support character to her. And the imagery is also very blue and lush. And I very much enjoy Moana.
It's awesome how this game can uniquely bring families together.
Yeah, so to slide a little bit into the world of guides, I know that Brett just recently got your guide, and it's been helping him a lot, to the point where we've been talking about guides pretty much for the past 2 weeks. Every time we play Lorcana, we talk about your guide. We talk about how important guides are. Can you give us and our listeners kind of a brief overview of what your Emerald Sapphire list does? Like, what is this guide that we've been gabbing about for so long?
So guides are a thing that I started back in September around Vegas, DLC Vegas last year. Basically, I was doing a lot of coaching, right? And that's like one-on-one, more expensive for people, right? And a lot of the things I was just keep on repeating. And I thought, well, why do I take all this time to repeat that information when I could just write it down and people could consume it on their own for a fraction of the price, right? And what justifies it for me is that the quantity of sales will be more than the one-on-ones, right? But it will also take less time in the end, right? It was very, very, very well received back then because Sisu on Ice was not that easy of a deck to just pick up and understand from the get-go. After the rotation, I felt a bit like lacking a deck to push because there were already people who had pioneered other decks, right? Like we know GDRR is a fantastic teacher and pioneer of Purple Steel and Blurple. Diego, the DLC Toronto winner from last year who had written about dogs, were good as well. And obviously others. And this time I played Emerald Sapphire back in set 9 Fable meta. I thought it was just a bit too inconsistent and it didn't bring it to both of the DLCs that we had. But now with the introduction of Cinderella and the Malicious Mean and Scary unlocking the Prince Philip, the Vanquisher of Foes, I think it gives more stability, different lines that you can take, and more comeback mechanism that is very reminiscent of the Sisu that I used to love, right? So I thought it was a natural progression after the red-blue guides to offer kind of a new version, right, of this style of deck, but within the Prince Philip Malicious Mean and Scary combo instead. This deck basically is revolved around two different combos, which is the Clarabelle singing either You're Welcome or Mother Knows Best, or the Malicious Mean and Scary sang and then paired with the Prince Philip to be able to wipe the board, right? Even through resist characters. So those two combos are very, very strong. You do have shift targets for both if you want to accelerate that up, but you also have ramp, which can also act as ways to put those two characters early on. And it also puts your opponent in a situation where it's very hard for them to play around both. Because if they're trying to reduce their hand size to not give you too much Clarabelle value, because she will draw up to whatever your opponents have, then you are susceptible to the Prince Philip combo wiping their board. And this Prince Philip questing for 3 is gonna not let your opponent too much time to be able to recover from it before it can actually just shut down the game by questing for 3 every turn. And you have a lot of 2-lore questers, so that will also add up whenever you have to follow up, right? And if they try to not overextend to that Prince Philip combo, then that's when you can use the Clarabelle, potentially You're Welcome or Mother Knows Best what they have on board, potentially their singer, so that they have less way to answer back your board. And now you're drawing a bunch of cards, which will get you to the Prince Philip combo, right? So it's really this dilemma that you're asking your opponent what they want to do about it. And that makes for a very, very, very strong game plan that you can adapt whatever you're drawing. And the guide basically covers why I put certain cards in there, why I omitted some that most people are playing, right? This deck is not playing any of the Hades Infernal Schemer, which is like a recurring question to me. And I'm like, just try it. Like, I think it will make sense if you put the work into it. I'm not saying Hades is like a bad card. It like totally could be included. But when you start thinking about how to approach playing this deck without it, I think you make yourself a better pilot, because I see the Hades almost like training wheels, where you want to have some safety blankets because it's like a hard removal, right? And you want to make sure you have answers. But really, this is not what the deck is trying to do. And is just a switch in how you should approach playing the deck. In general, I thought that to start with and to make people understand how to play the deck, they should start without it to be able to really understand how it plays. And so the whole strategy behind how I deck build it, how you want to be playing the deck, when to play your 1-drop Clarabelle, when not to play her, right? All of those questions that people are probably asking themselves when they're playing the deck. I answer it here, the different strategies in terms of inking, play lines, mulligans versus the most important matchups in the meta. And then I do also mulligans practices, right, on the blind and versus the decks. That's pretty much what I offer in this guide for like what I think is a really reasonable $10 offer.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's an incredible value. I have had a great time with it. I think what it has really done for me is challenged preconceptions. So for somebody who thought like, oh, I don't, what is a guide? I don't need a guide. First of all, I've challenged the preconception of how useful is a guide, because it has been tremendously useful. And it has especially been useful in that it made me think differently, not only about the deck, but individual card choices. I think green-blue has a reputation of being an inconsistent deck leftover from Fabled, but I think you do a great job of showing how to make the deck consistent, how to use, for instance, Vision of the Future as a turn 2 play when you don't have ramp sometimes, and how much more consistent that can make the deck. Or challenging the preconception of, oh, well, it's a control-y blue deck, of course it needs Hades. And, as you say, it's almost like training wheels, and it felt great not using Hades. And so I think for somebody who's out there who's listening and thinking about how do I progress in Lorcana and how do I get better, I think what your guide has showed me is it will challenge your thought patterns. And that's a great way to get better really quickly. You start to see the pitfalls that maybe you were falling into without even realizing it. So like from my perspective, mulliganing really hard for ramp when I have other good cards or another line to use, I can potentially use Vision of the Future instead if I have everything else that I might need for a particular matchup. So it's been really great.
Yeah, that's also a symptom of playing a lot of Blurple last set, where Blurple absolutely doesn't do anything if it play a 4-drop on turn 3, and this green-blue deck like doesn't have that liability all that much because it has a bunch of different things it can do, and all the shift targets are basically ramps, right, in their own way. So if you see turn 2 ramp as the only way for you to catapult you into a very impactful early game, you're really closing yourself to other possibilities and also to ways to approach those early game lines.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your deck development kind of process. Do you tend to play online or in paper? I know you have teammates who are kind of scattered, I think, around North America. Do you hook up with them and do online testing? Do you do webcam? What's your process like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of theory first, right? Without even touching cards or playing any games. During the preview season, a lot of my time is spent talking about these new cards with people I respect. Those will be my teammates, my testing partners, people I respect in the community, right? On Discords, all sorts of either public or private Discord I know, and challenging each other ideas. One example of that is Artabax from Germany. We always have very different views on card evaluations, so it makes it challenging for both of us to clash those thoughts and then test those things early on. A lot of my early testing is against myself. I use Tabletop Simulator because it's faster, and it also allows me to go search for certain cards and see, okay, what if I add this instead of that in that instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the first steps is like to try to figure out what is the meta will be revolving around, right? So when I first built Sisu on Ice back in the Ursula's Return, I had identified that the Diablo Devoted Herald was the pivotal card of the format and the most threatening card. So I wanted to build something that plays nicely into it. That deck was also playing Pete, right? Which was good against one of his Bet's Answer, which was the Brawl, right? It was also playing the location, right? Hidden Cove. And so I needed to be able to reduce its power, right? And that's how came the both the Sisu and the Ice Block to be able to do that, while also not being able to be interacted by Pete or Strength of a Raging Fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you try to lay out what are the most important threats of the meta, and you're trying to, as a control player, come up with approaches that line up well into what they can do against it as well. So now I approach green-blue this way of, okay, everybody trying to dump their hand in this new meta, right? If you don't, your opponent plays Demona and they draw 3 and you don't, right? Or they play Goliath and you have to discard a bunch of cards in your hand. So we have all these different cards in the meta that like basically asking you to dump your hand. And for me, that was a very good opportunity to nullify a lot of the power of those cards by using the bounce ability. Because if you're bouncing whatever they play, they're basically stranded in the number of options that they have because they've built their deck to be able to draw and dump their hand. But if you're not giving them ink to do that, and you're denying some of their previous turns that they've started doing this, they're basically have like Docs, Genies, and Demonas in their hand, and they're like, I cannot unload all of that. I don't have the ink. I don't have the time. And that's basically the idea that I had when I was like, we don't need Hades because that's giving them ink. We don't need Spooky Side. That's going to give them ink to be able to replay whatever we're bouncing, right? So we really want to strand their hand, make Clarabelle as powerful as possible.
You're always predicting, you're thinking really, really on a detailed, granular level about all of these card choices. for instance, when I think about this green-blue guide, you see this past weekend that Ruby Amethyst has this big tournament win, and it's coming along. And I think from my, limited experience playing Emerald Sapphire, I feel like an early Prince Philip shift is a great way to kind of come back against that particular deck. And I've noticed that in your guide, you've gone away from like one of the max goof cards and gone to one more of the small Prince Philip. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of a nod to the way that Amethyst, Ruby Amethyst, and Amethyst Steel have kind of come along in the meta?
Yeah, exactly. Both Amethyst decks are trying to be enough of a mid-range deck to push away the aggro decks, right? Prey on some of those emerald-centered aggro decks, right? And also play some aggression flying to be able to win against those go bigger blue decks, right? That Sapphire Steel and Emerald Sapphire and Sapphire Amethyst are. Against you, they'll definitely try to go under you, as we say it, by trying to really like put up the lore before you can establish control. And one way you are able to stop that, it can be with the shift Prince Philip. And it's working. I wouldn't say like it's the best solution. That it just gives you a little bit more of redundancy, because we already had ways to do the Prince Philip combo early on. But obviously, if you add more ways to do it, then your deck comes more reliably to be able to do that line, right? And the line that we already had without the shift target was the double Cindy into 9. Exactly, right? If you double Cindy into 9, that means like it's a turn 5 board wipe, but you also have like 5 worth of lore already on board, right? So you're ready to close the game in like 3 to 4 turns.
Yeah, so I feel like, if anybody's considering buying the guide and investing in this, I feel like, that's a great example to me of the value there, because it's not just something that you kind of put up and then you did your work and it's done. It's this kind of like this ever evolving process where you have to adapt to the meta, and so your list is always responding to that. So this obviously requires a ton of brain power. I think it's apparent to anybody who's listened this far that, there's a lot going on there that you think very deeply, very critically about the game, which means that you must be well fueled. We are, of course, a Lorcana and snack food crossover podcast. And so we have to ask, how do you fuel your brain? What do you eat before, during, after a big event? What's your go-to for brain fuel?
It's difficult when you're going to, when you're traveling, right, to be able to eat what you want to eat, ideally, right? So at home recently, I've been committing to eating like umami food in the morning with coffee. And it's like the best, but obviously I cannot do that when I'm traveling, right? So I've been like cooking up some miso soup and like a tamago and rice and coffee. And it's like the best thing to eat in the morning. But obviously when I'm traveling, I'm trying to eat eggs, coffee, and like lots of vegetables, and then I'm always bringing protein bars because we need the boost in the event. I drink a lot of water, so I go to the bathroom quite often in between rounds as well, which sometimes is a bit hard to do when I talk. I talk too much. I was like in between rounds, like I need to stop myself from talking to people, and obviously it's hard because people also want to talk to me, right?
Yeah,
and
so, everybody wants to talk to you. We get it.
But yeah, so protein, water, and go to the bathroom. Make sure you're in a good headspace. Give yourself some time to reset, right, in between rounds. Because if you're just like finishing your rounds, talking about whatever you played, and your friends are talking to whatever they played, right, and then the round begins, right, that doesn't give you enough time to really reset back for a new one.
And then you realize that you had to pee like 2 hours ago and you never did.
No.
I think that's a refreshingly healthy take on that question. We've asked that question a lot, and a lot of times we get, I eat nothing, or I eat a burger and then I feel really sick, or I don't drink water so I don't have to pee. So I think that's really good advice. I think we're gonna lock on to that one.
Yeah, that's actually valuable food advice on our food podcast.
I do coaching, right? So I would be a terrible coach if I would not at least do what I tell my students to do.
Yeah, it's so true. So true.
Yeah, we have a few local metamates who have partaken in your coaching, and they speak very highly of it as well.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into our favorite game here on the podcast. We love playing Ink, Play, Banish. The rules are akin to a game like Kiss, Marry, Kill that you may have heard of. So we'll give you 3 options in each of these categories. Ink is the option that you like some of the time. Play is the option that you always like. It's the best of the 3. And then Banish is the one that you don't care for at all.
Yes. Your
Absolutely.
first category, Lorcana cards. Prince Philip, the 9-drop.
Vanquisher of Foes.
Yes. Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves. And the latest Cinderella, the legendary.
So we're playing Clarabelle every time. We can't really ink Cinderella, but and
For
early
the purposes
on,
of this game, maybe you can do it with a TPO.
Yes, we could. She's a really good accelerant into the Prince Philip as well. But if you find Prince Philip without ways to actually get to him, you'll have to ink it, right? You'll have to eat your vegetables and make sure you can go to that late game first instead of just trying to hope to get there, right? So whatever happens, we're playing that Clarabelle Light on Her Hooves. She's the best card in this deck. Maybe I can take that angle and say that we can play this Cinderella. She's gonna give us ink anyway, right? So whatever we do with her, she's gonna turn an ink, right, into an ink, whether if she does it herself or if we use Tipo to ink it, or sometimes use the first Cinderella to ink the second if the end asks that.
Yeah. All right, changing topics here a little bit. Let's go to Canadian foods. Traditional Canadian foods. We've got poutine, maple syrup, and Canadian bacon.
All good. This is all great. Poutine is what represent where I'm from the best. Obviously, we have a lot of maple, and we produce a lot of that. But like the north of United States also do, and I really like it to be able to put some sugar on recipes without actually putting refined sugar, right? And it has some of a nice twist in terms of flavor that the regular sugar doesn't have. And also it blends into liquids better than putting regular sugar, right? Without having to actually eat up whatever the liquid is, right? So let's say I'm making like wafu sauce. I'll put the maple syrup in there because I don't want to eat that up, right? And that makes it so that it's like smoother and it tastes wonderful. And the bacon, I don't know. I for me, bacon is like always like smoked, and if it's sugary as well, it's pretty good. But for me, poutine goes on top because there's so many different ways to approach that dish, and you need that special, very important ingredients of the cheese curds, right? And not a lot of people are able to do that. So usually when I try poutine outside of specifically Quebec, it's pretty bad. And that means that poutine is like something that is very unique to Quebec and that we put a lot of love into it. And that shows in the diversity of how to do it. The sauce is very different from a region of Quebec to the other. There's a lot of cultural meaning to that dish, even though it's not really healthy. Every summer, I try to eat at least like one every 2 weeks or something like that. We're on a trip and we need to stop at the best poutine place of that particular region because apparently this one is really good, right? And so we compare those. We have like Facebook group about people like, okay, this is the one, it's a new place, they offer this and that. And it's a whole cultural phenomenon. And I think it also transcends the different generations, right? The younger people like it, the older people also like it. It's great.
Amazing. Okay, so we're definitely playing poutine based on that in-depth, hard-hitting analysis here of the cultural impacts of poutine, and we're inking maple syrup and then banishing bacon.
We're inking maple syrup and then we're banishing the bacon, even though bacon is great.
Yeah.
I don't think it's all that better than regular bacon.
All right.
Now, we know you were recently in Disney World for Worlds.
Yes.
So we've got some Disney World rides for you to pick from here.
Okay.
Rise of the Resistance, Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion.
I've only did the Star Wars one.
Oh, wow. So you have to get back to Worlds. We're rooting for
I
you
know.
so
I mean-
hard now. If we weren't before.
And also, I was with my 5 years old, so some of them are not the right age for it. And
True.
because I was there to play, I was only able to get to the parks for one day on Monday. And so we went to Magical Kingdom. And then at the end, with all the world's participants, we had a party at EPCOT watching the fireworks in this small, not island, but close to where the thing is, with just the participants.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We had a desert party where we had some deserts there. And then because we were staying on property, we were able to go to do Guardians of the Galaxy after Epcot closed. Because before their lines were really, really long, right? On that one, very popular. And so it was one of my best Disney experience because we were together, the participant, we had already played. So, it was all this big energy with the keepy, right? Winning and carrying his trophy with him at the park, right? And in between line, I was, while we were waiting, right? We waited 20 or 30 minutes still, but it was not too bad. There was my round 7 opponent, Brian Cortad, and we just reconstructed our games back and this is why I did this. Oh, this is why I did that. I thought you were taking a little bit of risk when you did this. And he said, yes, that's what I had in mind, blah, 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 blah. It was just a blast.
That's tremendous.
And then we did the ride and it was by far my best experience. It was
rocks.
insanely
Yeah.
So I would have voted for that one. One we really, really like was the Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That one we truly enjoyed, the three of us. The big drops. He was 4 back then too, right? And then the big drop, I could see his face really scared about it. And then we had the splash, and he was laughing and wow! It was awesome.
That's
really good
so
moments.
great. Well, we're going to have to, if we weren't rooting for you before, we're definitely rooting for you really hard now so you can go back to Disney World and you can go on Pirates of the Caribbean.
I will.
All right, one more?
Yeah, we've got one more for you.
One more for you. These are 90s Disney movies.
Okay,
We've got Lion King, a Goofy movie, and The Emperor's New Groove.
So I will Kiss Goofy movie. Ink Goofy movie. I watch it later again, and I really enjoyed it. The soundtrack is killer. But the Lion King has a special place in my heart because this is what Disney is for me the most. This is what I grew up with, right? I was born in 1988. So it was right at the right time for me to be enjoying this. For me, the message of the movie is also really ecological, which is very important to me, right? We're all in this together. Everything is connected. Respect every part of the life, right? I like and associate with that movie. And Emperor's New Groove, I have not watched before really, really recently. And I think it's great, but I don't have any attachment to it.
Sure, yeah. Doesn't have the same special place in your
heart. So we'll
heart.
have to banish that one.
Amazing.
Well played.
Well played.
Very
A well-played
good.
round of Ink Play, Banished Sailor.
Thank you.
Pierre-Marc, it has been an absolute pleasure. We don't want to take up any more of your time. Can you just give our listeners one more plug for your Metafy and your Discord? Where can folks find you?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for both of you for inviting me. It's been an honor. I really enjoyed the talk and the crossovers. You can find me on X at Lorcana_sailor with a 4 and an E. And you can also find me on Metafy at metafy.gg @sailor. And you can join my community of people just chatting about all things competitive Lorcana on my Discord. You have different tiers, but you get all the contents for $10 a month. And every time I put up a guide, you get to have that guide for free. So it pays for itself pretty easily, and you're able to also chat with a bunch of people that enjoy the same type of decks that you might have.
Tremendous. Well, we'll see you
Amazing.
around the restaurant, Sailor. Good luck in the rest of the competitive season.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again.
Well, after such a delightful interview, I think that our dessert should be a nod to Sailor.
Indeed.
We have a dream card made in his honor.
Yes.
Katie, what are we working with here? What have we got?
Well, we've got a song this week, Brett.
Okay.
This is a 2-cost inkable song called Time to Find Home. It is a S4iler action song. It says, put all characters with 0 strength into their player's inkwells face down and exert it. And it's got the flavor text.
We are explorers reading every sign. We tell the stories of our elders in a never-ending chain.
Yes, this rare card is based on We Know the Way from Moana. Now, We Know the Way is already a card in Lorcana.
A great sailing song, of course, is We Know the Way, so a great nod to Sailor, we hope. But more than the thematic ties, this card would be one that would go very nicely in Sisu on Ice.
Exactly, and that's the real nod to Sailor there, folks.
Yeah, and obviously Sisu is no longer in the game, but this is a payoff for strength reduction. So of course, Sisu has rotated out. Those payoffs for strength reduction in S4iler have rotated out, but we think that with S4iler Coil still sticking around and with some other strength reduction effects like heads held high, it would be nice to have a removal card that capitalizes on those effects, right? So you could hopefully reduce a bunch of your opponent's character strengths to 0 and then capitalize on that with Time to Find Home and chuck all those characters into the inkwell.
This is a really fun card, and I love a cheap song.
And it's inkable. It's easy to play. However, it's situational, right? So hopefully the low cost and the inkability would make it still playable.
A beautiful thematic nod to our buddy Sailor and to Moana.
Katie, what's next on the menu?
Oh boy, it's been a long time since we've seen Toby in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
It's time we let Toby cook.
Dare we even ask?
I know, but I kind of miss him.
Sometimes he has some fun ideas. I have to give him a little bit of credit.
And this is such a juicy meta to play with. I can't wait to see some off-meta thoughts.
We have some more fun interviews in the works. We have more humor, more Disney facts, more Lorcana content coming your way. So please continue to join us every week.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter. You can find us on the sidewalk, opening packs with dynamite.
You can email us at smorcana@gmail.com or leave us a tip in our tip-top jar at tiptopjar.com/smorcana.
We love to hear from you, and we hope that you're enjoying all your Thanksgiving leftovers and that you keep on snacking.
Yum, 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 yum. Yum.